Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Impact review for the, 18th of November 2021. Impact continues to be obviously a third string show. Not a big surprise there, but what can you do? BTI, which again, I keep saying it's a pointless concept. It's trying to make Impact seem bigger than it is. But anyway, Brian Myers defeats Sam Beal on the BTI program, attacking Beal with a chair after the match. Rich Swann and Willie Mack make the save. Opening video is a recap of last week's main event that sees Eddie Edwards gets crowned as the number one contender for Moose's World Championship, defeating Morrissey and Cardona. The actual show opens Steve McLean defeating Loretto Kid. Stipulation of the match is that if McLean could defeat Loretto Kid, McLean would be added to the Turning Point X Division title match between Trey, Mcgill, and Loretto Kid. This comes after McLean argued to D'Amore and Mcgill that he is unpinned and unsubmitted since joining the Impact roster and deserved a shot. Match has a couple of spots going back and forth. A little bit of lucha, a little bit of reversal counter wrestling, and ending with McLean dodging a dive from the Kid following one of his own where it seemed like he connected chin to head with Loretto Kid. Back in the ring, McLean misses a corner crosshair spear, and then King then tries to Kid turns that into a senton on the floor. Kid then hits a Michinoku driver and sets up moonsaults for near fall. Kid goes for a third one, but McLean dodges and connects with a running knee for a near fall of his own. Both men trade a couple of strikes. Kid then hits a DDT only for McLean to jump in and hit a lariat for the double knockout tease, which, I don't know, seems kind of weak. Kid then comes back with a poison rana for a near fall and tries to hit with a moonsault, but McLean recovers and hits a crosshair and a mayhem for the win. And so now we've got a three-way for the Saturday Turning Point event, which, who cares about three-ways? McLean is joining Loretto Kid as they challenge Trey Mcgill for the X Division title at Turning Point now, and everybody says who cares. Recap for Brian Myers taking out Sam Beal on BTI with a chair. Afterwards, we see Beal being sent to the hospital. Swann cuts a promo on Myers saying that his actions were disgusting and instead challenges him to a singles match at Turning Point. Decent enough promo. Not exactly a fan of Rich Swann, who less than, maybe a year and a half ago? Probably less than that. Maybe a year ago, was a champion in the league, and now he's just in a throwaway match on a second-rate show. Anyway, Trey Mcgill addresses McLean's win. He says that McLean is getting shot because he complains, and he never pinned. He's promised to go straight for him at Turning Point. Gia Miller asked Ace Austin if he'd accept the challenge of Chris Sabin that had been issued to him last week. Austin said he wasn't going to accept the challenge, but that Sabin confronted him and told him that Austin needed to prove himself and prove that he could win without Fulton doing the work for him. Austin and Fulton attacked Sabin, and once again, Fulton did most of the work. Knockouts Tag Team Champions, The Inspiration, Cassie Lee and Jessie McKay defeat the Undead Bridesmaids, Kimberly and Brandy Lauren in a non-title match. I thought Sue Young was part of that. Guess I've forgotten here. 2 weeks ago, Cassie Lee and McKay recruited Lauren and Kimberly to take out Decay. After failing to do this, the Inspiration decide to teach them a lesson, take them out of the division, hence this contest. Squash completely, Inspiration controlled early, and they basically play cat and mouse with constant tags. Lauren tries to make a comeback and manages to clear the ring, and at one point, Lee and McKay quickly come back and take out Kimberly, who pinned Lauren with a double team move. Or they pinned Lauren with a double team move, sorry about that. After the match, all of Decay comes out and confronts Inspiration. Decay surrounds the ring and takes the titles. And Lee and McKay sat in fear. I don't know. Decay looks like they've got something going on, but it's interesting. Impact Plus flashback of the week. Rhino and Heath defeating Reno Scum from last year. When last year is as far as you go with your flashback in a 20-year-old company, that shows how weak the booking is. Anyway, recap of Chelsea Green pinning Alicia Edwards to become the #1 contender for the Digital Media Championships. Afterward, Miller interviews Green about the challenge. Green then said she's going to go as soon as she can and is able to take out going for it. Miller also asked Cardona about his direction after losing last week's main event, and Cardona said that he's going to keep chasing the title and he wants to take on whoever wins. At Turning Point, Morrissey confronts him and tells Cardona that he's going to get the shot because Morrissey would. Cardona then challenges Morrissey to a match at Turning Point. Gia Miller then interviews Eddie Edwards about being the first to challenge Moose. Edwards brought up the history they've had before, showing that the company really doesn't move forward that quickly. And Moose jumps in from behind. Moose and Edwards brawl on the stage at ringside, where Moose drops Edwards with an apron bomb. Moose then attacks Edwards' neck with a chair, but is able to recover and dodge a second attack. Edwards hits Moose with a chair and hits a Liger bomb, a Boston Knee Party, and tries to finish the job by diving onto Moose from the ladder through a table, but Moose is able to recover and run away. Basically a gimmick match forthcoming between the two at some point in the not too distant future. Backstage, Scott D'Amore confronts Moose and indeed books a Full Metal Mayhem match at Turning Point. Mercedes Martinez cuts a promo saying that she'll be the Knockouts champion at Turning Point. That's a match I actually do care about. And then Doc Gallows with Carl Anderson defeats Hikuleo with the Bullet Club. Bullet Club challenged for the Impact Tag Team titles at Turning Point. In anticipation of the match, we get the Battle of the Hosses between the two. Match starts that they were both straight for strikes and Gallows punches Hikuleo around the inside and then manages to keep things going. Both men clash with shoulder tackles until Bay and ELP jump the apron and distract Gallows. Referee, and then Hikuleo hits a low blow on Gallows. Gaining control, Gallows tries to counter Hikuleo's strikes, but keeps getting taken down at every attempt. Gallows eventually catches Hikuleo with a bunch of clotheslines, and both men go down, allowing Gallows to catch a breather and recover. Gallows comes back with a couple of boots for a near fall. Hikuleo then hits power slam for a near fall, tries to follow through, but Gallows rakes the eyes and hits a two-handed choke bomb for the win. I don't know, slow match and doesn't really make anybody want to see the Turning Point match there for sure. Gia Miller also has a sit-down interview with Deanna Purrazzo and Matthew Reinwald. Miller tries to ask Purrazzo about the whereabouts in the last month. Purrazzo says she's just been home and that she has no plans to return to the ring. Purrazzo says she doesn't care about interviews or telling people what her next move would be, and everyone will have to wait and see. Finn Juice cuts promo about not having much success since coming to Vegas. They said that they are on the bottom, but this isn't the first time they've had to rise back to the top. D'Amore approached them and gives them a match with Decay on the Turning Point so they could get back on track. Eric Young and Violet by Design cut a promo about Rhino having to deal with the ramifications of his decision to betray them. He then told Rhino that at Turning Point, Violet by Design will terminate him and Heath. By this point, the show's starting to feel long, even though it's not any longer than an average show. Just sometimes wrestling begins to drag when you've got too many segments and they're all short and you're not really building to anything that matters. Demon and Decay, Black Taurus, and Crazy Steve defeat Johnny Swinger, Hernandez, and Falaba. Demon and Swinger rivalry starts at Bound for Glory Call Your Shot Gauntlet match, and it continues here. Match starts with Swinger pretending to be a matador with Taurus, and that works until it doesn't. Hernandez and Steve come back. Steve gets taken out with a big powerbomb-like maneuver, and then Ba tags in and continues to work over Steve. At the end of the match, Swinger tags in. Steve chases him away and tags in the Demon, who takes out everyone. Decay then Takes out Falaba and Hernandez and then dives while the Demon hooks on the Cobra Clutch on Swinger for the submission win. Not exactly, something that needs to be there after the match. Johnny Bravo tries to help Swinger, but Swinger says that he's hit rock bottom. Then they walked away. Rosemary and Havoc approached Bravo and told him that he could help him. Swinger then offers his blood. The show is being main evented by Suzuki and Alexander. Jordana Grace cuts a promo prior to her match with Chelsea Green at Turning Point. They talk about Green not being able to win the title in the inaugural match, and neither would she at Turning Point. Mickie James also cuts a promo prior to her Turning Point match with Mercedes Martinez, probably the best wrestling match on the show, and tells her that she should not make the mistake of trusting her at Turning Point. She's going to whoop her tail. Brown and Stryker run down the updated card for Turning Point, which is Chris Sabin, Ace Austin, should be decent. Violent by Design, Rhino and Heath, who cares? Rich Swann, Brian Myers, what a fall for Swann. Decay and the Inspiration for the Knockout Tags titles. Throwaway, Mickie James and Mercedes Martinez from the Knockouts title, probably the best match on the show. Trey Mcgill and Loretto Kid, Steve McLean for the X Division title, basically otherwise known as High Spots with No Psychology. Good Brothers and Bullet Club gone on too long, and a Full Metal Mayhem match. Eddie Edwards and Moose for the world title. Then Juice and Decay and Jordana Grace and Chelsea Green will be on the countdown show as well. Josh Alexander defeats Minoru Suzuki. Suzuki makes his Impact debut about a month ago. Alexander is targeting everyone else, and then Alexander focuses on Moose. Suzuki is able to get momentum during his debut, and the match starts with some chain wrestling, but Alexander gains an advantage. Suzuki turns things violent and starts going for strikes. Tries to attack his opponent, and Alexander gets nailed with a chair. And then Suzuki and Alexander brawl outside the ring for some time. Back and forth exchange on strikes, and they both go on. Suzuki then starts to gain more and more momentum over Alexander. Back in the ring, Alexander manages for a comeback and tries to go for the C4, but couldn't lock it in. They keep going back and forth, trading kicks and strikes. Suzuki provoked Alexander to chop and then continues with back and forth challenges. But again, if Suzuki, who gains more and more momentum until Suzuki tries to talk trash into wrapping things up, Suzuki locks on the sleeper and tries to follow up with the GSP, but Alexander blocks it and slams Suzuki's in the head. Alexander then comes back with a rolling plunge and knee to the head, but only gets a near fall, and then Alexander locks on the ankle lock. Suzuki turns it into a sleeper and backing into the ankle lock by Alexander. Both men keep reversing one another's attempt, and then the C4 and the GSP respectively, but in the end, Alexander stumbles into a Suzuki forearm, gets hit with a C4 for the win, and then backstage, Bravo and Swinger come back, and they're met with Decay and a couple more people. Decay is transported everyone to Wrestle House 2, and we close the show. Like I said, a very weak show, but again, with this kind of being the number 3 promotion in the country now, what can you do? Anyway, we'll be back with more right after this.